if you've been causing harm and being emotionally abusive or otherwise abusive in your relationships, you might be asking yourself, am I a monster? Especially if some of your behaviors have been more on the intense side of the spectrum. And if that is the case, then today we're going to be talking about monster energy, the monster, a wild animal that lives inside of all of us, and what to do about that. So Andrea's here, sorry, I'm Karen McMullen. This is Andrea J. Lee, my friend and colleague, and she's here as my guest today on my YouTube channel because I have featured her in the past in the Stop Emotional Abuse playlist that you can find if you go in the playlist section of this channel. And she is someone who was formerly abusive emotionally to her husband and recognized it, and then did the work to come all the way through to the other side where she's no longer abusive. So Andrea, I know that this topic is something that you have found comes up with your clients when you're helping them to overcome being abusive. So first of all, I'd love for you to share whether or not that was something that you personally asked yourself, and also how that shows up with your clients.
Sure. Yes, I used to think I must be a monster. I remember lying in bed at night thinking, what the bleep did I just do with this day, treating my husband the way I did?
What were some of the things you were doing?
Yelling, criticizing, judging, telling him that he was lacking in his behavior, just being very, very cruel in the words that I used to talk about what he was doing or not doing in our relationship. Whether it was like he was looking for work, or he was taking care of something in the home, or how he was treating me, I would yell really mean things to him. And at the end of a day like that, I had a lot of despair. It was as if there was a monster part of me that I couldn't control. It was like this running amok, like energy of just like a tornado. And I felt really helpless in that energy. And yeah, clients now, definitely, it's one of the first things that people say. It's like, I feel like a monster. I can't even look at you. I feel so ashamed. I'm a terrible human. That's the language that often first comes out when people have that initial awareness. So I think it's such an important topic to address head on, this question of, am I a monster?
And I personally think the answer to this is yes and no. You are a human, and part of being a human is that we all are wild animals. We are mammals. We are wired as animals, and it's our own wildness that can come through in destructive and harmful behaviors, as well as emotional pain from childhood. It's like a combination of those two things: the animal within, and also the pain, and that can kind of combine and create this monster inside that just wants to come out. Mm-hmm. And I have a powerful story about how I experienced my own inner monster, where I was doing a healing session, and I started to feel, I was working with energy, because I perceive energy, which is a non-physical energy. Mm-hmm. If you're not familiar with energy work, this might sound a little strange, but if you are familiar, then it will make more sense to you. But I was beginning to perceive this snake energy coming through me. I could see it, I could feel it, and at first it was a little scary. And this is something to be aware of, as most of us are afraid of our own wildness, our own raw power, and this monster inside. And I also think societally we're taught to fear this aspect of ourselves. And that's why there's so little mastery with it. So anyway, I was there, I was perceiving this snake energy, and all of a sudden it just started coming up and through me, and I felt the power of it. And it was like this, like, don't mess with me, like, F off. A really strong, raw power to be able to defend myself, to take care of myself, to keep myself safe. And this was a real powerful moment for me, because my tendency in relationships had always been to be kind of a people pleaser. And if you're familiar with the fear responses, to fawn, which means kind of catering to others' desires and needs, to be able to really read into what other people might want and just kind of go along with that. And so oftentimes in my relationships with men, I would be very lovely, very quiet, going along with what they wanted, until I had denied my own needs so much that I was really angry. And then this wildness would come out, and it would be uncontrollable. And so what this snake was showing me was my own power to assert myself for real, and to really make sure that I actually take care of me, and that I don't need to be this nice person, because the people-pleasing, nice Karen was never really authentic. And this strength, ironically, the more that I embraced this snake, and I actually became really grateful to this part of me. I call her snake bitch, like this bitchy ability to defend myself. And as I embrace this part of me, ironically, I don't need to show up with that energy. I don't need to use it hardly ever, unless I'm in a real situation where I'm being threatened. But knowing that I can keep myself safe, and that I have the strength to do that, and that range is there, has really allowed me to just be me, to be authentic, and to feel safe in my relationships. So that's an example of like working with this inner monster, this inner wild animal, and harnessing that power.
I have a question for you. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. It's such an inspiring example of working with the monster energy, and I wonder, would it be accurate if I said, like, it sounds like you have a relationship now with this snake monster energy? Is that an accurate way to describe it?
Like, to me, when I feel into my own self, I can feel different parts that come forward, like my inner child, my wise woman, and this is just another part. This is another part, and it used to be a part that I would reject or deny. This is something that I really would love to emphasize for today in this video, is that rejecting or denying your own inner wild monster is not effective. It doesn't lead anywhere good, because either you're going to end up repressing, or you're going to end up expressing destructively. So there's really only two ways that it goes, and either way is destructive. Could be destructive to you, could be destructive to others.
Or both.
Or both, yeah, or both. See this aspect of yourself, welcome it in, then what you gain from that is this incredible power of the life force that's available to you through transmuting this energy and embracing and welcoming it.
The word relationship is being highlighted so well in your story, Karen. And that really is the direct answer, I think. Are you a monster? No, but you have monster energy in you. And depending on your relationship with that energy, you're going to have a positive relationship with it, where you can use that wildness, that life force, or that life force and that monster will use you.
Anything else you want to say about the monster?
Yes, I think that it's worth adding that sometimes monster energy can travel through generations. So I remember very clearly the way my dad would rage and create terror in our family was, it's almost like I caught that. It was like a contagion. I learned it and continued that monster energy. And I'm quite sure that in his upbringing during the war and so on, that he had somebody else as well who had monster energy. So be compassionate to yourself when you are learning to relate to this energy. It is probably sourced from more than just you and has deep roots, sometimes out into history and the world and so on. So, yep, you're not a monster, but you have monster energy, and there are a lot of things you can do about it.
Absolutely. And if you look at society, I think this is one of the important things about it, is like we live in such a violent world where, you know, we can't deny that there is violence and cruelty within us. And to move beyond that is really just to harness and redirect and consciously choose differently. And I love that you're bringing up this chain of events, because it is possible to stop that chain of abuse and to choose differently. And Andrea and I have actually collaborated to create a mini course called We Can Stop Being Abusive. I'll put the link below as well as up there so you can check that out. Actually, I'll put the link here to a video about it that you can watch. And also there are many videos in the Stop Emotional Abuse playlist on this channel that you can watch that will also give you more resources to help you make that inner change.
Even on days when you feel like a monster, know that there is something you can do about it.
Thank you so much for watching this video and having the courage to look at yourself and this topic. Please subscribe to stay in touch for more videos, and we will see you again soon here on my channel. Bye.